I like this place.
Me too. I like you more.
Always.
Always.
Some people say heartbreak is the end of a love story, but for Kayla Rios and Jackson VR, heartbreak was just the beginning. What they didn't know, as their helicopter soared over a lost prehistoric island, was that this wasn't just a scientific mission. It was a reunion fate had carved out of ancient Earth, thick jungle, and unfinished feelings. If you believe love can survive even the wildest storms, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with us for the full story of Hearts Beneath the Canopy. Kayla hadn't seen Jackson in 3 years. Not since the night she walked away from the ring he held in his hand, soaked in rain, begging her to stay. She was a woman driven by a need for discovery, always chasing something bigger than herself, answers in DNA strands, life in forgotten seeds. He, on the other hand, was reckless, charming, and dangerous in all the ways that made her feel alive. And now, here they were again, sitting across from each other in a helicopter above the vast Pacific, pretending the past didn't sit in the air between them like an unspoken scream. "I thought you stopped chasing ghosts," he said, his voice a low, teasing rumble. "And I thought you stopped following me," she shot back, her eyes fixed on the storm clouds building outside the window. Neither of them would admit the truth. They hadn't stopped anything, not the research, not the obsession, not love, and certainly not the love. The crash came without warning. One moment, the chopper hummed steady, a comforting rhythm against the wind. The next, alarms were blaring. Lightning ripped across the sky, and Kella's scream was swallowed by the horrifying shriek of spinning metal. When Sawaki, she was lying on a soft bed of moss, her hair matted with blood, the wreckage burning just a short distance away. And then she saw Hin Jackson dragging her away, his arms shaking, but impossibly strong. "You okay?" he asked, breathless, his face etched with worry. "I've been better," she managed, trying to smile through the sharp, throbbing pain. Around them, the jungle pulsed with an energy that was both terrifying and magnificent. Trees towered above like ancient gods, their leaves whispering in a language the modern world had long forgotten. And somewhere in the distance, a deep, guttural roar vibrated through the ground beneath their feet. "Where the hell are we?" Jackson muttered, his eyes scanning the impenetrable wall of trees. "Not on any map," Kayla whispered, a sense of dread and awe mixing in her gut. "We weren't supposed to find this." As they pushed their way deeper into the green abyss, Kayla clung to her leather-bound journal, the only thing that had survived the crash. Inside it were formulas, her formulas. The secret she hadn't told Jackson. She hadn't told Anyun. This island wasn't just about documenting extinct plants. It was about her serum, the one she had been injecting into dormant, ancient seeds which was showing signs of reactivation. This jungle was alive and changing fast. For hours they moved in silence, the quiet only occasionally broken by breathless exchanges. "You still carry it?" she asked once, her eyes catching the glint of a chain around his neck. "Every day," he replied, his gaze fixed on the path ahead, refusing to meet her eyes. The ring she left behind, still here. It was bent now, rusted from years of exposure. Still there, still around his neck. Night fell, air changed. The jungle grew louder, a symphony of howls, clicks, and the rustling of unseen creatures in the undergrowth. They found temporary shelter inside the crumbling remains of an old research station, swallowed by vines and the slow, relentless march of time. It was there, under a broken roof and the dim, flickering light of a single flare, that the truth finally broke through the wall they had built between them. "Why did you come?" Kayla asked, her arms crossed over her chest, her body bruised but her voice unwavering. Jackson turned to her, his face illuminated by the red glow. "Because I knew you'd need me," he said, his voice raw. "And maybe because I needed a reason to see you again." The confession hung in the air, heavy and real. "I was afraid," she admitted, the words barely a whisper, "that if I stayed, I'd lose myself in you." He took a step closer, closing the distance that had separated them for years. "You did," he said softly. "And I lost myself right back." The air between them thickened, It wasn't just the humid jungle heat or the fear of what lurked outside. It was everything left unsaid. All the longing, all the regret. She reached up, her hand gently tracing the lines of his face dirt-streaked, cut, but so painfully familiar. When his lips finally brushed against hers, it wasn't a new sensation. It was a memory. A return to a place they'd only ever known in stolen moments and fragmented dreams. Their kiss was raw, desperate, and electric. A promise and an apology all in one. It was a collision of past and present, a silent acknowledgement that even after all this time, they were still each other's home. But the jungle wasn't done with them. A screech ripped through the trees, sharp, primal, and terrifyingly close. A shadow moved just outside their shelter. Then, another. Jackson grabbed a spare flare, its light casting, dancing, monstrous shadows on the walls. Kayla grabbed her journal, holding it tight against her chest. "Raptors," she whispered, her scientific mind clicking into place even amidst the terror. "They've adapted to the dark. Are you really sure about that?" Jackson asked, tensing up. "No," she admitted, "but I'm sure they're hunting." And so they ran, through thick mud and over tangled roots, their hands clasped together, a lifeline in the chaos. The jungle itself seemed to be chasing them, screaming in a fury of snapping branches and primal calls. They dodged fangs that flashed in the darkness, ducked under swinging tails, and when they finally dove into a hidden cave behind a roaring waterfall, they were soaked, gasping for air, and clinging to each other, not in fear, but in fire. "If we die out here," Jackson said, his voice ragged as he pulled her close, their bodies pressed together in the damp, echoing cave. "Then at least I'll die in your arms," she whispered back, her lips finding his again. And for a moment, under a hidden sky full of stars that had seen civilizations rise and fall, they forgot the danger. They forgot the years of distance and the pain of their past. All they remembered was love. Sometimes, it takes being lost in the wild to find the one thing you never stop searching for. If this story pulled at your heart, made you believe in second chances, or just made you feel something real, hit that like button, subscribe, and join us for more stories like Hearts Beneath the Canopy. Because love isn't always safe, but it's always worth it. Thanks for watching.